Alright guys, consider this video the introduction to your nollie stance. So for reference, I'm a regular skater. My nollie stance is when I use my left leg to get on the nose and lift the tail, right? This is my regular stance. This is my nollie stance. As a goofy skater, your nollie stance is where you use your right foot to go on the nose and lift the tail, right? This is a goofy skater nollie stance, and this is a goofy skater stance. Now that we got that out of the way, use that as reference for what I'm about to show you. Now, what I'm going to show you is a three-step progression to improving your nollies. I was about to say ollies. Your nollies. The first thing you want to do is begin using your front foot as a way to lift your board up, your tail, right? Do this. So I suggest you go somewhere where you won't move. Maybe it's the grass, maybe it's a crack in the floor. But for the most part, if you've been skating for a while, you just simply getting lower through the hinge like this is gonna be enough to stabilize you for this trick. What we don't want to do is stand straight up here and try lifting the board, right? Because it's so much easier to get out of balance. So first step, right, of the progression, hinge, stay low, closer to your board, and start doing this, right? Lift your board. Cool. That's step one. Like I said, I can do it on the grass, I can do it on a crack where it's gonna hold me, or I can also do it just by stabilizing myself. This is dependent on how long you've been skating. There's no amount of days or months, weeks, years that you need to wait till you start skating nollie. So if this is your first few weeks, you might wanna go to the grass. If it's the first few months, maybe a crack on the cement or the skate park might work. And if you've been skating for a while, I believe you could even skip this and just ride. Just do this same thing in motion, which leads me to my second part of this progression, where you slowly push. You might even use a ramp to get some speed, but generally I say just give yourself a solid push, not exaggerated or not like an insecure one where you barely push, but a good one, right? Like, and this is relative to the skating you do and the speed you go at normally. But let's say you do a normal push, follow me, right? You want to get here, stabilize through the hips, hinge at the hips, and start, right? Playing around with the amount of pressure you have to lift the tail. Now, this is where you get a bit, how would I say, experimental with your own self, right? There's different parts of the nose, right? I would say from the top bolts to this pocket, basically this pocket is like the first part of the nose. Second part is the center, and the third part is the very tip, right? So if you notice, if you try it out for yourself, when pushing on that pocket, it's gonna take a bit more effort to lift the tail. The closer you get to the center of the tail, the easier it will be to lift this, right? And by easy, I mean like the amount of strength or tension you have to place on it. It doesn't mean that when you go to do nollies, it'll be better to do here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's easier to just settle your weight there and lift the tail. So play around with that, right? On the second part of the progression. Roll with me. Here, center. So you see how I'm moving this part of the foot. That's what you really want to play around with. Now, let's go back this way. Really? Turn around.
I got it.
Alright, really? When you're playing around with that, you also want to keep in mind that this leg lifts up too, right? To make things a bit easier. You don't want to just be pushing down here and also resisting lifting the tail with this foot. They need to work in sync, basically. So a little bit of push here and a little bit of lift there, right? That's how you get it to come up, right? Play around with that. But then also, once this becomes so easy where you can place your weight here, then you want to work on resisting with this foot, kind of pushing down on it, so that there's this counterbalance going on, right? That way you can eventually play with manis, and it also adds to that tension that you can apply to get a better pop in the future. All right, so that's the second step of this progression. So just to recap, first step, stabilize yourself, whether it's on the grass, a crack, or even just hinging at the hips. Lift the tail, right? Stabilize, stay close to the ground. If you want, you could even do this, but I wouldn't recommend that. There's no need. Second, add a solid push. Do that same thing, and then play around with the footing of that front foot, right? The footing in the pocket, the center, and then the very tip. Now the third one, this is, I guess this one really comes naturally once you feel super comfortable riding your board and doing this, right? Just on flat ground. And this is assuming you've done 180s, you've skated, you could do kick turns, you have a general idea for what it means to turn your body, right? General idea for how your hips have to shift, your shoulders have to align as well, and how your head has to turn. So for example, I want you to use, in the case you've already done 180, back 180s, front 180s, and this doesn't mean like the actual ollie one. I just mean like a front side revert, or even a kick turn. Sorry, kick turn backside or kick turn front side. You can use those things as reference as well, or even the fakie, right? Even the fakie backside or fakie half cab. I see a lot of kids who are learning nollie. They already know how to do this, the fakie. Right? So kind of using that as a reference to mirror what you're supposed to do nollie. With that in consideration, I want you to start to play around with this, right? Like going very slow, and noticing how your shoulders are placed when the board goes forward, right? You'll notice that the top half of your body is slightly opened up to where you're going, and when you push down on your nose, the board has an inclination to go forward, front side, right? This is nollie front-sided kick turn. So if you open up the body, you'll notice that you have more of an inclination to go front side. Now, if you have your body closed off and you push your front foot down, you have a bit more of an inclination to go backside, right? And you simply can play around with this by turning your body, stabilizing, and pushing down on the nose. Same thing with going front side. Go front side, stabilize, and push down. And you'll notice it's this much easier to go front side versus the backside one. So play around with your body positioning as you're trying to turn, right? I want to encourage you to not only think about using your shoulders like forcefully. I want you to really think, how can I slowly have my body turning, right? With minimal movement, because that's going to give you a better sense of control when it comes down to practicing this, you know, on an obstacle or even off an obstacle if you're just doing like a nollie ride-off. The whole point of this nollie progression is to introduce you to tricks that you'll eventually I believe do, which are things like nollie. Oh, that's nollie front side, and then nollie back side. Right. So if you look at those tricks in slow-mo, not that you should, but I'll just tell you what is going on. You'll notice that when my body is rotating to the left as a regular skater, I'm asking for a frontside trick. There's no way I can do this and turn this way unless I use this to wind up, to use my body to rotate clockwise. So basically to the right? So really pay attention to how the top half has to rotate so that you can influence what way you're spinning, right? So like I said, this is just an introduction for nollie tricks. It's not the full scope of what it means to learn a nollie or even a nollie backside or nollie frontside 180. But oh, actually I forgot something. One last thing. I want you to push, right? Or you could even do this stationary, but as you lift the tail, I want you to doing little hops, and basically all you're doing is hopping off your front foot. Little hops off this foot. This is the only one extending, right? This is my foot flexed when my toes are coming to my knees, and when I'm extending is when my toes are going towards the tail. So extend, and land back into that stable position. Stable. Now that I have all that said and done, look out for another video where I'm gonna go more into detail about how you can get a nollie trick. But this one is just to introduce you to it. It takes a lot of muscle memory, reps, whatever you want to call it. So don't get frustrated, just keep at it, and don't be hard on yourself if even just doing this, you know, to begin with comes as a challenge. It's all feel, it all comes over time and with a lot of practice. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. See you all in the next one. Laters.